It's noon. Just going to give another 30 seconds, but let's get started because we got a lot to go through. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today in another webinar we're hosting about cybersecurity. This is a very important one. They're all important, but this tool is one of the most important tools that we use and we recommend everybody using. So without further ado, let's get started. I hope everybody's seeing my screen okay. All right.
Perfect.
Perfect. All right. So I want to first get started and talk about layers of defense. This is kind of an introduction. I'm trying to frame for everybody what we're trying to protect here. Overall, what we're protecting, and that there is multitude of layers that we want to protect from a network perspective. So we're going to start logically here and look at the first thing we're trying to protect is your data. The data which is your work, which is the Word document, Excel files, anything in a database, all the data that you produce, whether it being a PII, in other words, it has information that shouldn't be shared with anybody, like credit card numbers or social security numbers, whatever it may be. That data is the core of what we want to protect. That data lives most of the time in an application. It gets produced by an application. So if it's Word that's producing those Word documents, it's Excel that's producing those Excel documents. So that's the second layer. First layer is data. That's what we're trying to protect. And we're trying to protect the application that produce that data and help us produce that data, whether being a database or not. And then that application is loaded on an endpoint, on a PC or a Mac or a Chromebook or a desktop or a laptop or a server. Those endpoints are where the applications are loaded, where the data lives, and what we're using. We want to protect the endpoint as well. Then that endpoint is then connected to a network, right? I mean, think of it. You're producing the data, you're using the application that's on a machine. That machine is connected to a network. That network is that the endpoint is connected to, is the switch that everything comes into. We want to protect that layer as well to make sure that if somebody is able to come through the fences, are not able to go across the network and hop from one machine to the other to get to the server and get all the data that they want. And that entire network is protected by a perimeter, your firewall. The firewall is connected to the internet and to your network, and it's protecting it. And then the common denominator that uses all these different layers is the human. So there are 6 layers that we look at. And I just wanted to explain that. And I explained that in every webinar that we do, so that I'm trying to frame why we looked at some of the security tools that we looked at after getting certifications and what have you, really understanding what the needs are. So even though there's 6-layer defense, there's advanced security tools that we have to care about. Advanced security tools that make up the tool set that we need to protect those layers. Now that tool set, I put some of them in there, most of them. A SIEM is what we're going to discuss today. MDR is Managed Detection and Response. That's what it stands for, but it's truly like antivirus on steroids. It's antivirus with anti-spyware, anti-ransomware, threat hunting, and managed, where somebody's looking at it all the time, 24/7. Then we have application allow listing or application whitelisting. There's a tool that we put on desktops, endpoint protection, that will then see what you're using, and nothing else will run if it's not supposed to run. Multi-factor authentication, where you get a code before you log in somewhere. Encryption, so just in case you lose data or you lose a laptop, you only lost a piece of hardware, not the actual data in it. And DLP, which is data loss prevention, so that people can't copy, paste, take your files, move it. This is to protect you from internal and external threats. So these are kind of the different tools that we look at to protect the network and the environment. But today we're going to talk about the SIEM. Today we're going to talk about the core of what the basis of all these advanced security tools live on. So what is a SIEM? We have Marco Albano that will be that's joined us, and he's a professional at the SIEM company that we use. But I want to explain what a SIEM is, and he's going to dive right into it. Bless you. So a SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management. Okay, that's what it stands for. Think of it this way: if every click that you do, every function that the machine does, there's a log file that gets generated. That SIEM is kind of like your log aggregator on steroids. Everything that happens has a log, has an entry in that log file, so we can go back and see what happened, when it happened. That's one piece of it. It's the fundamental tool for Security Operations Center. It provides 24/7, 365 monitoring and logging of security events. Anything that happens, we're able to go and tell you how it happened, who clicked on what and did what, and what have you. A SIEM collects log and event data that organization network that an organization's network devices, system, and application generates on a regular basis. It provides security teams, and that's the thing here, is that you have to have a security team watching what's happening in real time, a greater visibility into what's happening with all the elements of an IT ecosystem overall. A SIEM is more than log aggregator, because a SIEM will alert us when they see logs being generated that look malicious. A SIEM amplifies threat detection. We can learn very quickly if there is a malicious actor that has breached the perimeter defense, and we can move quickly to response before whatever they're trying to do becomes an issue. If we could stop it while they're trying to do it, then we're ahead of the game. So how do we use a SIEM? Number one, we can conduct strategic detection. So real-time visibility into security threats like malware or suspicious network traffic, impacting network devices, real-time visibility in what's happening. Then we analyze that event data in real time. This increases the ability to detect the threats happening now and detect them early. Then they become an enriched log, because we have so much information in it that usually we don't get from Windows alone. So event logs from security controls like endpoint protection and endpoint solutions, your antivirus, your MDR, your web filters, your firewall, all those dump that information in the SIEM. So then we get a full view of what's happening on the network overall, and it makes the logs a lot more powerful for us to use and truly become your security provider. Plus, I tell you that it meets compliance requirements, part of HIPAA, it's part of PCI, it's part of DSS, a real-time analysis of data is part of that, and SIEM meets that compliance requirements. And accepts data from many sources as well. So it has access to multiple and diverse sources of data in your entire ecosystem, your firewall, different applications that you may be using, your MDR, every piece, your backup and disaster recovery can all dump info into that log aggregator, into that SIEM. So then we have a full visibility of what's happening in real time in your environment. That's how we use a SIEM. So overall, it allows us to see the whole picture of a network. It detects events based on data inputs. It provides some automatic responses depending on integrations that we have. It offers a massive detection capability overall on your network, but it's backed by a 24/7 SOC, Security Operations Center. It's useful for analysis and compliance, but not typically used for threat prevention. Remember, a SIEM is a log aggregator. We need additional tools that will do threat prevention after a threat is here. A SIEM may let us know about a threat, but we have to take action for that threat. So that's what a SIEM does. It's very powerful. So which SIEM do we use? I promise you, we must have looked and R&D'd, I don't know if 30 SIEMs. We looked at a lot of them, from the Microsoft SIEM that they have built in, which needs some work, I think, to all different types. But we wanted to partner with a SIEM that is world-class, that is capable, that has a 24/7 Security Operations Center backing it up by defense. In other words, they're looking at it 24/7, 365, and they're letting us know if there is something we have to take action on. They're doing the frontline defense, and we guarantee it because they are a world-class national company that we've looked at all different types, and we've seen what their SLA is, their service level agreement, and they've been doing a great job. We've been reselling and working as a partner to Netshirian for a long time. The tool itself is called Event Tracker. The company is called Netshirian. And from the company, we have Marco Albano joined us. Hi, Marco.
Ikram, thanks for having me. Appreciate everyone jumping on this afternoon.
So Marco, let's make this into a
Sure.
conversation. Let's keep going here.
Yeah.
I kind of framed what we're looking at and why we looked at it and the importance of a SIM and why uh, you need it. But now let's talk about the SIM itself and what it does. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. And
Here
you're
you
going to
go.
drive, just let you know when to move.
Yes, please.
Perfect. Ikram, thanks a lot for the introduction. I appreciate the kind words. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of level set with you in terms of the cybersecurity market. Obviously, our world's changed a little bit over the last 3 years. And I remember that when this number used to be in the billions, and now Cybersecurity Ventures is estimating that the cost of these attacks is going to get up to $10.5 trillion by the year of 2025. And the reason because of that is our perimeter, as we know it, has changed. We're now in the cloud. We now have remote workers. So all of these hackers, they know this, they understand this, and they're going at it a different way, and they're developing new ways in which to get infiltrated into your organization. And this could be your obviously top size companies all the way down to your SMB companies, which is why you're looking at and you have MVP as one of your trusted advisors. So again, the trends we're seeing is that perimeter that we knew was going away. The growth of malicious code is increasing, and the cost in which these companies are spending in order to protect themselves is also increasing. I wish we had the budget to help offset the 10.5, but we don't. But this is why we're all in business. So you can move on to the next one. And you think about, whether you're small, medium, or large enterprise, right? I'm good. You may not feel like you're going to be attacked. Chances are you will, and the stats to back that up as far as SMB and who is being attacked, it's across the board, right? You never want to see these numbers over 100%. You can tell that everybody's being looked at, whether it's you yourself or someone that you work with within your chain is being attacked, right? We need to figure out a way to get visibility and gain visibility into that. And this is what the SIM, which is a small portion of what we do, right? Net sharing itself is a managed open XDR platform. So what that means is extended detection and response. The SIM and the SOC is a part of that. But what we're really trying to do is give you visibility across the board on all your devices on what could be happening. And then take actions on that with MVP as far as the alerts that are coming through. Go ahead to the next one, Ingram. And again, this is sort of a pre and post pandemic era, right? You had the phishing attacks, you had the malware attacks. Now these hackers, because everyone is remote, are getting creative. They're hacking through cloud apps. They're hacking based on a role. They're looking at someone. They're doing social engineering. Every time I go out of work and travel for work, I'm always hesitant to put up email addresses in my out of office. Because in the back of my mind, I think, okay, if I put up my bosses now, if someone were to try and attack us, they have their email address. Not that that's tough to find, but I'm always constantly thinking of things that I can do as a user to better protect our organization, knowing that we are the weakest link. And that's sort of how you have to go into this as well. Is it's you putting all of this investment and you're working with MVP to try and gain that visibility, right? And that's what you're doing, and that's what you need to do. And this just gives you a snapshot of sort of the things we had to worry about. And now that we're all remote, the things that we're going to have to worry about now and continue to try and catch up with, because this market, as you all know, is changing constantly and changing every day. Not to make it any easier, there's a ton of, and it's overwhelming, right? This is why you look at MVP. They're doing the work for you. They're looking at the vendors. They're looking at their current stack and evaluating, okay, does this integrate with that? It's very overwhelming to see all these different types of security solutions. And I'm sure you all are in positions where you're getting emails from all different types of vendors. And that's tough to keep up. That's why you're looking at MVP to sort of be that trusted advisor and help you and guide you through that process. And these are just some of the few challenges that we've seen, and I'm sure MVP's seen, as far as SMB customers who are either being told they need to introduce a SIM or a platform like ours. And that's really the tech silos, right? You have your stack. They all work in separate silos. Alerts are happening everywhere. You don't have a central console to see those alerts and understand those alerts. And then there's a skill shortage too. I think there's 3.5 million open cybersecurity roles. The good news, I guess you could say, is it's starting to flatten out. And I think they're still estimating by 2025 there'll still be 3.5 million jobs open, but that's a lot of jobs. And the data that we hold and that your company holds are very dear to you. And if there was ever an instance where you were attacked, you know, God forbid you have to pay a ransom. But there's a skill gap there as well. And then obviously we all know about the budget allocation, right? There's constraints there. We all wish we had unlimited budget to help put the security services in place. Again, that's why you're leveraging MVP. And the way we've built our platform, we're able to sort of fit into what they're offering in a very cost-effective way to be able to give you what you need to keep secure in a budget-friendly way, but also have enterprise-grade type technology and manage it for you, which is another thing to keep in mind. As you start to develop and MVP is providing the stack to you, they're managing it for you. We're helping them out. That means you can sort of hopefully sleep a lot better at night knowing that you don't have to have staff on 24/7. Let us do that for you. Let us do the advanced threat hunting. Let us comb through the data and alert MVP on what we're seeing. That way they can go ahead and take action.
Absolutely. And I'll throw something else here, Marco, is that
Yeah.
we really did our due diligence in putting that stack together. And we're this year we're gonna do different webinars and talk about different security tools. But this tool is the tool that we found as the basis of all other tools. So that's why I'm excited about it. But we really looked at a lot of them to pick the right one that fits the small and medium-sized businesses to match the budget, but have all the skills we need to make sure that you're right. We bring down enterprise level solutions to the small and medium size.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add.
Make it affordable, right?
Exactly.
Again, we're talking about SIEM, and SIEM is the backbone of what NetSurian does today. But we take it a step further. So why do you need a SIEM? Why do you need OpenXDR? One reason, and I'll steal this from our chief strategy officer, your parents made you do it, right? There's compliance that you guys need to meet, PCI, HIPAA, NIST. We can help you achieve that. MVP can help you achieve that. And the other part of it is you as a customer understand, or MVP is working with you to help understand, okay, what are your gaps? And the fact that you understand there are gaps and you're trying to take steps to achieve that, that's great. That's great to know. And you're smart, right? You understand that if you are hit and you do have to pay something, that could shut down your business, God forbid. We obviously don't want that. And MVP is putting that stack in place to help you achieve that as well. And again, the threat landscape continues to evolve. We're all remote, digital transformation. The perimeter is now changed, right? Your workers are at home. They're using different devices. You want to make sure that those are covered. And if something were to happen or they were to click on something, you have the solutions in place and the team in place, right, to alert you. And now we can take action and help remediate that. So this just gives you, and this kind of speaks to Ikram's one of his first slides in terms of what that attack surface looks like. This is what we're covering for you. And keep in mind, you're not having to do this yourself, right? We're doing this for you. We're covering all those bases, networks, firewalls, your cloud services that you now have in place. We're monitoring all these platforms for you. Our team is investigating. If we see a P1, we'll alert MVP. MVP can then consolidate that and then do the remediation. So we're covering you across the board so that, again, you're increasing your security maturity, which we'll see on the next couple slides as well. So again, Ikram, if you want to go to the next one, this just gives you an example of what we do, what we can do, and what MVP is doing for you today, right? Part of that sort of workflow within the cybersecurity stack is predict, prevent. Then we come in, we help detect, and we'll help MVP respond to those threats that do come in. So it's just a high-level overview of some of the things that MVP is already putting in place. And then on the right side of that, detect and respond. That's where we come in. We're the managed SIEM. We're looking at those threats. We're seeing where they are. We're cutting them off. and then MVP can go ahead and work with you to remediate those things.
Marco,
Yeah.
I have a couple of people there's a little feedback on the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, can you lift it up like that? That'd be great.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry.
rubbing against your shirt, and
You know what it is? I'm Italian, and I talk with my hands, so I'm probably hitting them. I'm probably hitting the microphone.
I get
it. Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, you could just click through this. It's sort of a flow chart. You can keep going. Should get all the way up to 4. So this is one of my favorite slides that we have here at NetSurian, and I'll sort of speak to what this means, right? As a company, you're obviously on this webinar and you're working with MVP to understand and increase your security maturity model. So basic endpoint, basic MDR, basic security technology will get you to the sort of 0 and 1, right? Initial and minimal. Where NetSurian comes into play and what MVP can offer you on top of that is to get you to that 2 and 3 level, right? That's where it gets more creative. It's more advanced. We're combing through. We're doing the advanced cybersecurity and looking into all the threats that we see and providing that feedback to MVP on, best practices on remediation. To me, again, if I'm presenting to a customer or a partner, I'm saying all of these other features that you have in place today are great and you need them. They'll get you to 0 and 1, but you need something, again, in the cost-effective model, right? Because we all don't have the budgets that we want to get you to that 2 to 3 so you can sleep a little bit better at night. So this sort of helps me and again, is one of my favorite slides that we have here at NetSurian and have partnered with MVP on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So threat hunting also is just not log aggregating, right? We talked about
Correct.
logs and all the logs coming in, but it's
Correct.
understanding what the log means and truly looking at them and saying, hey, how come this log keep being regenerated? Let me alert somebody so they can come back and look at it so we could actually stop it before it becomes an issue. If you look at ransomware, I'm giving that as an example. Once you know you have ransomware, it's a little too late. But if it takes a week or so to encrypt all your data and get it where it needs to be before it becomes a problem for you. Right. If we're able to find out that somebody's doing that in the back end, we can stop them before they can actually finish encrypting everything. As soon as we see them, we take action. And that's what a strong SIEM does for us. Part of the XDR model, but what it does is it alerts us on events happening in real time so we can take action before it becomes too late.
Yeah. And you bring up a great point too. You keep in mind, there's a difference between the technology and platform itself, right? Which is AI driven. That's a big thing you'll hear is AI. Like we'll alert you when something bad happens. That's great. But what you get as far as the benefit with NetSurian and MVP is we're actively looking into all of that data. Not only the alerts, but also the stuff that we see that may not be an alert right away, but maybe a little bit curious and maybe tied to a number of other things that are happening within your network. That's where that value comes in. So we can stop prior to it even happening. Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, we were going to do a demo for you guys, but we will do that if you guys are interested. We'll call you and do one specific for that if you want to see what the tool really does in the back end. But not to waste everybody's time, just seeing what logs look like. Because it's not, it's the power of the results that's important. But for us, the important piece is that it comes as a SOC as a service. Think of it this way. It is, you could have all the tools in the world, unless somebody's looking at it regularly, analyzing it, and taking action in real time, it's a little too late. So the reason why we truly start partnering and like this solution over others is because it comes with a SOC as a service. So number one, it's a layered defense. It's critical to stop today's multi-pronged approach, threats coming from everywhere. So SOC as a service is the most cost-effective way to do it. So we install the tool, and then we have a team of people, actual people, besides AI, but actual people that will look at what's happening and let us know to take action on certain things. So it's not just the component itself, which is the tool and the technology, machine learning, SIEM and EDR or MDR, automated for rapid response and what have you. But it's the people that sits on the chairs that have 3 shifts, 24/7, 365 SOC with an extended. It extends our team. It gives us the expertise. It's tailored for remediation steps. Lets us know what we need to do if we do find something, and it's processes, because to be compliant, compliance and tools is one. For tools are one thing in compliance, but another part of compliance is processes, documentation, and everything else that comes along with it. Full incident response and reports, so it's a fully managed but complete solution. The result is predict, prevent, detect, and respond. Really, that's what it is. And that's the beauty of it. The beauty is to be able to provide you a tool that it's the basis of all tools. So all the other tools that I showed you in the initial diagram will feed all their logs to that SIEM. So then we have visibility on all the security tools. We have visibility on your appliances, on your perimeter, on your firewall. We have visibility from different applications, your backup and disaster recovery. They all dump their logs into the SIEM, and we're able to then analyze the entire environment and have 24/7, 365 support, looking at what's happening in real time. It's the basis of everything that we do. And as you know, our webinars are short. We get right to it. So we worked with Marco and his team to try to come up with the best possible offer for the webinar. And I can tell you that this is a great offer. If you sign up before the end of March, so we'll give you time. If you guys want to see a demo or you're interested or what have you, we'll give you 2 months for free, which is it's a big deal because there's implementation or what have you. But you get 2 months of the monthly charge as part of it. And we also have a drawing to win a $100 gift card from Naturian. They'll send it to you. As a matter of fact, I have a wheel of everybody that joined, and I'm going to click the wheel. It's going to spin. We're going to see who won the $100 at the end of this webinar. We're not waiting till later. We're doing it now. So just to let you know, but 2 months for free, that's a big deal. So what does that look like? It's 3-step to protecting your organization, how we look at it to get something implemented. But before I do that, I see a couple of questions came in, so I'm going to jump on that real quick. How does a SIEM tool compare to a program like ThreatLocker?
Yeah.
Now, ThreatLocker.
Go ahead,
Marco,
you take it. You take the first step. Go ahead.
I'll take the first step. You jump on. So there is no overlap, by the way. So ThreatLocker will actually feed the SIEM, but ThreatLocker is an application allow listing. It's an application whitelisting, if you will. What it does is it sits on your machine, learns everything that you use, and then allows us to go ahead and tell it it's okay to use these applications or not. And any other application, and after we put it in protection mode, in protect mode, any other application that is not on the list that we've approved won't run. ThreatLocker is that last line of defense. But if something happens in your environment, then what? What happened? I can't tell you that through ThreatLocker. I can through a SIEM. Is there some overlap? ThreatLocker does have some reports, but it's not as deep, and it's not as, the SIEM is really the basis. ThreatLocker will feed it. Do you want to add anything else there, Marco?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, as I mentioned before, we're an open XDR platform. So no matter what you've already invested in, we'll still grab those logs and absorb it and give you visibility in that SIEM. So to Ikram's point, there's not really much overlap. It's just a piece of the security stack that ThreatLocker is, and we're just overseeing all of it.
Yeah, and it's part of our security stack as well. We definitely have ThreatLocker in there. It's a tool that we like quite a bit. It does the job. The SIEM is just the log piece of it that lets us know and alerts when things happen with the SOC. So 3-step to protecting your organization. I'll jump there. Step number 1 is a threat assessment. So what's lacking in your security right now? What do you have? Do you have standard securities, what I call standard security, a good firewall, a good antivirus, and is that where you stop? How are your employees using your company-owned devices? What a third-party cloud app are you using? Are you using M365? What kind of security do you have there? Do you have DLP set up for it or not? Where are you exposed? So what we would do is actually run a scan for you. It's a scan that we will send you a link to simulate what a hacker would do. Think of it this way. Most attacks happen because you clicked on something you're not supposed to click on, or you just went to a website, didn't click on anything, and things started to happen on your machine. It doesn't mean it's an event. It's just things start to happen on your machine. Well, we're going to simulate that. Our threat assessment is we'll send you an email with a link, and then you're going to click on it, and it's going to simulate what a hacker would be able to do. Can a hacker crack your passwords? Can a hacker able to go across your network from one device to the other all the way to your servers? What kind of data can a hacker get? Let's simulate that. Let's see where the holes are, because sometimes you have a great perimeter and yes, you're protected and you have standard security stack, but you may need deeper analysis. So we want to see what's missing. And then we'll come up with an action plan for you based on what we discovered, which industry you're in. Listen, I don't want to spend money for the case of spending money, but it needs to make sense. And we want to understand what it takes to get you there. So we create an action plan based on the threat assessment that we do. So if you're interested in a threat assessment, this is not a network scan like we do just to understand what the network looks like. This is threat assessment. What happens if a malicious actor, a hacker jumps on your environment? How far across the network can they get, and what data are they able to get out of your machines? And then after the action plan is ongoing maintenance. So it's not set it and forget it approach to security, obviously, because your attackers aren't setting it and forgetting it. They're doing social engineering. They're looking at every single company and really diving deeper. They're understanding who the CEO is, who the CEO relies on. They're sending specific emails, spoofing other people's emails, trying to get you to send them money. There's a lot to be done in security. So the idea is to set it and have a 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 SOC looking at everything that's happening. That's the way to protect it, I guess. So the first step is free. So for everybody that joined at no obligation, no cost, we'll come to your office and we'll conduct the cybersecurity evaluation where we'll perform the external vulnerability scan of your company's firewall. We'll send you that link. We'll run the reports. We'll come back and tell you what it is that we recommend you having and where your risks are and what we're able to find and best practices and overall network design. We'll do all that with you just to make sure that you got what you need and you understand what it is. So overall, what do you do now? Here's my email address. This is our number. Talk to your PSM. The PSM will understand and will know what we need to do. They'll send you the link and they'll work with you on that. By the way, Stephen, I hope we answered your question when it comes to Threat Locker. And if you guys have any other questions, let me know. The idea here is to be available for you and to do the assessment so that the threat assessment, so we can understand where you are, and you can understand where your risks are. So for the offer being 2 months for free and you win a $100 gift card, one person here from everybody that just joined out of the 25 people that joined, let's see who's going to win it. So unless we have any other questions, we're going to go through our drawing, and we put it in the wheel of names. So this is a website, Wheel of Names. We got to use technology. I put everybody's names of the people that joined. I did not put last names because security and all. Want to make sure everybody is aware. But let's see who's going to win. Are you guys ready?
There we go.
Bonnie M wins the $100. Congratulations, Bonnie. So Marco will let you know Bonnie's address and where to send her the money. And,
perfect. Happy to do it.
Thank you. And I hope you guys found this beneficial. I hope we explained SIEM well. I hope you guys understand the value of it, and of the value of the entire stack is important, but SIEM is truly the basis of everything that we do. It's where everybody, all the other tools dump their logs so that we have one single pane of glass to be able to manage your security. We are looking at a managed security service provider, not just a managed service provider for IT, but we're looking to get deeper into security because, as you've seen, and we've negotiated with hackers and we've gone across threats for some of our partners, and we got there because we see why it's needed. a lot of times we are in an environment where they got hacked and they call us after the fact. They have no tools. There's nothing that really we could do besides negotiate and try to make that ransom smaller if they didn't have a solid backup. They didn't have a plan of attack. Let us help you develop all that. And it starts with a SIEM. And this is the tool for it. I don't see any other questions. 2 months for free. A SIEM is per device charge and per server charge. So per desktop and per server comes with it. We'll go through it with everybody. If you guys are interested, we'll actually run a demo, and we'll definitely run that assessment, because that assessment will give you a lot more detail, not just if you need a SIEM or not, but what data can we get? What does a hacker have access to once they come to your machine? So I hope you guys found this beneficial. I'm 5 minutes over, but I'll wait to see if there's any additional questions. And if not, feel free to ask us. You could email me, ikram@mvpworks.com directly. I'll respond and answer your questions that you may have. Ask your PSMs, and we're available for you to protect every device that you have. I hope you found this beneficial, and thank you for your time today. Marco, anything else you want to add before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, just thank you, Ikram, and the MVP team, and for everyone else who joined. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.